Hi everybody, welcome to week 2. So you've successfully finished your first week and I hope you're looking forward to the rest of the class. So let's take a look at what you need to do for this week. Okay, so week 2 college algebra, we're going to be talking about graphing and linear equations. So this week's material, you're looking at sections from various chapters. So we are finishing up chapter P, which is the last section, which is P.6, the rectangular coordinate system and graphs. Then we're going to do the first 3 sections of chapter 1, which covers graphs of equations, linear equations of one variable, and modeling with linear equations. And then we're going to skip to the first section of chapter 2, which is linear equations in 2 variables. So this actually works really nicely together because linear equations in 2 variables is taking what you learned about graphing and what you learned about linear equations in 1 variable and sticking them together. So you don't need the rest of the sections in chapter 1 to do 2.2, so these work really well together. If you have taken MA104, which is Fundamentals of Algebra, then these are all going to be familiar topics to you because these were all covered in that class. So the material you're learning this week has a lot of uses, and this is only just a small listing of the ways that you can use it. But business applications like sales, profit, revenue, depreciation, your salaries, all of these you can create with linear equations. A lot of statistics actually relies on linear equations. Because we're doing graphing, presenting data on graphs, you are going to learn some things that are helpful for construction. We're going to be covering distance and time problems. So those are the types of problems when you're trying to figure out, oh, if I'm going this speed, how long is it going to take me to reach my destination? You're going to be solving basic arithmetic problems. Those are the kind of problems that you do every day that you usually solve in your head. You don't actually show the algebra for it, but you are doing algebra. Unit conversions is another use of a lot of what you're going to be doing this week. And anything that has some sort of change that changes by the same amount over and over and over again, that's actually a linear equation. So I like to always connect back to previous material so you can see what sections are needed or how they all tie together. So I have mapped up each of the sections here and which sections that we've covered so far are used in those sections. So that gives you an idea of if you're struggling in, say, section 1.3, where you might want to go back and review. Some of the most important skills from week 1 that you're going to be using again this week are understanding exponents, evaluating expressions, factoring, and working with rational expressions. You're going to be simplifying, multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting rational expressions this week. So this week you have 4 tasks to complete. You have your week 2 discussion, the week 2 ungraded practice assignment, the week 2 assignment, and then you have your first quiz this week. So let's take a look at what the discussion is. So the motivation for this week's discussion is business. So when we run a business, or say you're investing in stocks, you want to make sure that you're going to make money and you want to be able to predict whether you're going to make or lose money. If you're going to lose money, that gives you an idea, oh, I can see things going down, I need to change things around, versus if you're going to make money, oh, awesome. So when you're in statistics, you usually do this using something called a regression. And so if you have data that is roughly following a line, you can use linear regression. Now, we're not a statistics class, but we can do a very simple version of this. And so we're going to use real data to get an equation of a line based off of only 2 points. So a linear regression takes in all of the points of data. What we're going to be doing this week only uses 2 points of data. So it's a very simple version. And so I have an example here of a graph with Microsoft. And so a linear equation forms a line. Does this look linear? Well, it depends on what points you're using. If you're using the first 3 points, that forms a pretty good line. If you're using the points after that, that forms a different line, but they're not all on the same line. So your equation could look different based off of what data you're using. So this discussion prompt is going to require you to work out some math. Being that this is a math class, that's what we're going to be doing in the discussions. You're going to be applying what we're learning on real world data. And so everybody is going to have different answers because you're all using different real world data. So we're going to be making a prediction for a company. So your first part is to do some research. And so you need to pick a company, and this needs to be a public company so that you can actually find the data. You're going to pick a company that you're interested in, that you want to see what their sales are like. And then you want to find 2 years of data listing the total sales or the total profit. So you want to be able to find that data. So once you find that company, then you're going to have to find that data. And so Statista.com or macrotrends.net are really good resources. And I'm going to show you macrotrends.net right now. So you can just go to macrotrends.net and this is what you come up with. And then you want to look up a company. So let's say, like I have Microsoft. So I'll just type in Microsoft. And it does not, sometimes this website does not want to work for me. Okay. We want, let's say, we want to know when they're making money, so we want revenue. So I'm going to click on the revenue and see if this works. Okay. So this takes me to this page where we had the revenue from 2006 to 2019. And they actually give you 3 points of data here. So 2019, it's 125.843 billion. 2018, oops, where did that go? Well, that is interesting. This is a new thing. I have not seen this before. Let me try refreshing that. Okay, 2018, it's 110.36 billion, and then 2017, we have 96.57 billion. So you have 3 years of data. All you need are 2 points. So you can pick any 2 points here in order to make your prediction. And so this has all the information that we need in our discussion. So you're going to get 2 years of data, and then you're going to create 2 ordered pairs. So when we create ordered pairs, we always have the year first and then our numbers. So sales data in the example that I have is revenue. That's fine. You're just trying to take a look at the money, basically. So that's the research part. The second part is where you're actually going to be working out math. And so this is going to be coming from 2.1. So you need to go through, you need to at least have gone through the other sections before you do the discussion. So it's covering 2.1 material. So you need to find the slope. Then you're going to use point slope form to get the equation of a line. And there's actually an example 8 in section 2.1, which does a very similar thing. And then you're going to use the equation to predict the sales for 2021, 2 years from now, to see, okay, I think 2 years from now it's going to be making money or losing money. I do have a video already recorded on 2.1 that should be very helpful where I go through these sort of steps. So to find that video, you would click on Course Coordinator Resources, then Course Coordinator Instruction videos, and then Week 2 recorded videos. And then you scroll down and then you'll see the one on 2.1. And that will be very helpful. So when you're writing your discussion, there's a layout that will help it be easy to read. So first, always start with an introduction of the discussion where you're actually giving us some details. You're not just doing math. So you need to tell us what company did you research and why. Give us the 2 years of data that you're using. And share the link where you got that data so that we can always go back and take a look at that. Once you've done a little introduction, then you're going to work through the mathematics. And don't just type up all the math. Explain what you're doing as well. So explain it in words like, here I'm going to find the slope, or here I'm going to find the equation of a line. You know, this is because you're teaching others in the class. You're explaining what you're doing so your other classmates can help you learn. So you want to explain in words in addition to showing the math what you're doing. Then at the end, you're going to have a conclusion. Basically reflect on the accuracy of your work and what this means in real life. So, you know, do you think these 2 points are going to be a good predictor? Do you not? You know, do you think it'd be better if we used more points? That sort of thing. So now you can just expand on what you learned and what you think this means going forward. Now let's take a look at your assignments. So let's take a look at the ungraded practice assignment. Because we're covering sections for 3 different chapters, your ungraded assignment is also coming from 3 different chapters. But these are all odd problems, so all of the answers are in the textbook. There are worked out solutions on CalcChat, and there are videos on some of them on CalcView. If time is an issue, then at least do the checkpoint exercises that are in the reading. All of the videos for the checkpoint exercises are available on the textbook's website. Your week 2 assignment is another 10 problem assignment where you want to show your work so that you can receive feedback on where you went wrong. It is graded right or wrong, so there's no partial credit for this. But this is how you get a check to see where you're at before you take the quiz next week. So the purpose of the assignments is it's a self-check to see that you understand what's going on so that you're not caught unaware when you're doing the quiz. So all of the instructors this term allow you to have scanned PDFs of work. So if you don't have access to a scanner, you can use your phone. There's a phone app called Genius Scan, and you can use that to scan your work. When you do, if you're going to handwrite it, make sure that it is in pen, or if you're using pencil, it's dark enough so that you can read. And try to make it submit a single file. So if you have multiple pages, you're going to have to combine those into a single PDF. And that is possible with Genius Scan. There are also websites online that allow you to do that. Make sure all of your problems and every part is clearly numbered, everything is in order, and make your answers stand out by boxing or highlighting them. That will make it a lot easier for your instructors to grade. Some tips that I have when you're working through the assignments are to read through the problems before you start the reading or watching the videos. That way you know what to look out for while you're reading, like, oh, there's an assignment problem like this one. After you do that, I recommend you watch the course coordinator videos first before you do any reading or before attempting the assignment, because in a lot of my videos, I do very similar problems to what are on the assignment, and so that will be very helpful for you. So now let's talk about your quiz, your first quiz of the term. So how do these quizzes work? So they're 10 multiple choice questions, and they are timed. You have 1 hour to complete these 10 questions. The clock starts ticking as soon as the quiz is opened up. So do not begin the quiz until you're ready to start, because once you open it, you have to complete it. You have to complete it in one sitting, because if you spend an hour and even if you left the quiz, the time still ticks. So it will just submit for you. So don't start it until you're ready. Make sure when you are doing your quiz, you write down all of your work, because you are required to turn in your work with the quiz. So that will be on a separate sheet of paper. Try to keep it organized. Label each problem. Like, this is work for problem 1. This is the work for problem 2. And write down all of your work. Once the quiz is over, then you need to submit your work to the Dropbox that is associated with the quiz. So there's a week 2 quiz Dropbox, and that is required. If you have no submission there, you don't get any partial credit on your quiz, and depending on your instructor, some instructors will give you 0 points on the quiz. So you are required to submit your work to the Dropbox, and if you don't, there is a penalty. So you can scan it like with the Genius Scan that I mentioned on the assignment. So you just have all of your work, scan it, and then you can upload it just like you would upload an assignment. If your work is like, kind of all over the place, you can take the time to rewrite it and make it neater. But make sure that everything is labeled so that it's easy for your instructor to take a look at your work and see where you can get partial credit. So how does this quiz Dropbox work? Well, when your instructor is grading it, they have the work for your quiz open, and then they also have your quiz open, so they can see them side by side. And then we add or subtract to your score. So if you have no work for a problem, you may lose points because you just simply guessed. And if your work does not match your answer, you may lose points, because that would indicate that you changed your answer after you took the quiz, which is not allowed. And then if you have some work that's correct, even if your answer on the quiz is wrong, but at least you were on the way there, you can earn partial credit, and that could increase your quiz score. So after your instructor goes through all of that, they put a 0 in the Dropbox in order to say, okay, I've gone through this, I've now graded this. Any points you earned are added to your actual quiz, not to the Dropbox. So your quiz score should go up if you earn partial credit. And so that's what you want to look at in order to determine if you earned any points or not. And when you review your quiz, you can see the quiz question by question, and it will tell you whether you earn partial credit or how many points you earn. So that's how you would figure out where you earn points. And sometimes, you can also check your Dropbox, because some instructors will leave you notes as well telling you how many partial credit points you earned back. So it is worth taking a look at both. And some instructors will even leave you feedback on the quiz Dropbox so that you can see where you went wrong. So each quiz covers the material from the previous week. So your week 2 quiz covers week 1 material. That way you have time to get your assignment back and see where you went wrong on the assignment before you take the quiz. So that way you can learn from your mistakes. So our week 2 quiz is going to cover the order of operations, evaluating expressions, simplifying, multiplying polynomials, factoring, adding and subtracting rational expressions and polynomials, and then multiplying and dividing rational expressions. So these are all the same topics that were on the week 1 assignment. To study for the quiz, definitely review your week 1 assignment, because that is the same type of problems. Find practice problems out of the textbook that are similar to those. If you do the odds, you always have the solutions to the odds. So you can try to find odd problems that are similar. You can do the pre-test and post-tests for Chapter P that are available on the textbook's website. And you can do practice problems. Rational expressions are usually the toughest for people, so I have picked out 3 links here on practice problems for rational expressions. IXL.com is a website that just has lots of practice problems. You can only get a certain number of free problems a day. I think it might be 30, it may be less than that, but it should reset the next day. So if you're going to use IXL, you don't want to do it all at once. You need to do a little bit every day. And that's the best way to study anyway, is not to cram, but to study a little bit every single day. So let's take a look at how I'm putting all of this stuff together into your schedule. So, suggested schedule. Your discussion, you can do a little bit at a time. So you can do your research on Thursday. You can get your data points on Friday. You can start working on your draft on Saturday, and then it should be posted by Sunday. For the reading, I actually flip-flopped 2.1 and 1.3 because 1.3 does not need, or 2.1 does not need 1.3, and then that way you can get to 2.1 sooner in time for making your discussion post. The notes organizer is also called the success organizer on the textbook's website. That's a great way to take notes. I've kind of mapped out the videos that are in the weekly content and which videos you should go with each section. I've mapped out some practice problems so that you can do a little bit of practice with each section. There are only generally never more than 10 to 15 problems each day for you to practice. So that's not too bad. It's good to do practice a little bit at a time. And again, those are odd, so all the answers are available. And then I've mapped out your assignment and which sections they go with. So like problem 1 goes with 1.1, and specifically you need to do that one by graphing. Don't try to solve that algebraically. 2 and 3 also go with section 1.1. Then problem 4 goes with section 1.2, and so on. So you can do an assignment problem after you go through each section, and then that will help you kind of lay out your time and spread things out so you're not cramming and doing it all at once. And then I've also kind of mapped out a little bit of quiz work for you to study, but you can modify that as you want. So if you have any questions specifically on the expectations of the course or what you have to do for the course, you can email me or give me a call. This is my contact information. You can also reach out to your instructor, especially if you have any questions on grading or those kind of things, or if they have any extra tips. Your instructors are great. They can give you some extra content tips as well. So you can reach out to me or your instructors. So hopefully you have found this helpful, and I look forward to seeing the results from the survey so I can schedule a live with you guys and answer any questions you have. So you guys have a great week, and I will see you again week 3. Bye.